Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Well, this time I am actually working on wheel hubs. Fun job. But this is on that Case 496 disc that I bought from my neighbor. Get this hubcap popped off. So far, the bearings haven't been, well, I actually just started yesterday. I started on that, I did that wheel over there. This is the inside. Well, I guess you could call this the inside 4 that I'm working on. Because once I get done with these, it'll be time to, there the cap popped off. Man, not too bad. But it'll be time to do the wing wheels. Set that right there for now. Yeah, I'll just show you right there. Yeah, you can kind of see we got grease in it, but yeah, there I can show you. Previous owner, he would take, it looks like anyway, and grease up the zerks on the hub. Now myself, I don't like doing that for 2 reasons. One, unless you're using actual wheel bearing grease, just regular grease gun grease isn't as heavy. And also, trying to find that dumb cotter key. Also, when you go and pump grease into it, and I see some evidence of it right here, and I saw on that one over there especially. But 2 things can happen when you go and pump grease into it. One, it can build up pressure and actually end up blowing the hubcap off, and or it pushes grease out the back through the grease seal, and it attracts dirt. This one here is actually not too bad. That one over there, it had dirt all built up back here behind that, and I don't like that. And so I never use those kind of zerks like that. I like just using regular, repacking them with regular wheel bearing grease. As opposed to trying to grease it with a grease gun. Trying to get both ends of that cotter key pinched together, and then trying to get it bent underneath. Which is sometimes easier said than done because it keeps wanting to kick back and forth constantly. But so far though, on that first one anyway, and this one here looks pretty good. It's got, the bearings themselves aren't in that bad a shape as far as actual looseness in the rollers and that kind of thing. They look pretty good. And they feel pretty tight. So all I'm doing is taking it apart. If I can get that key out of there. probably still got a little bit of a bend in it. There we go. Yep, I'll take and straighten him up. You can just get a little bit of a curve into it. But keep that right there in the hubcap. And the disc blades make for good grease rags. Scrape your fingers off on them, works great. And as far as the grease seal, this style hub has, the setup is you put the seal onto the spindle. Then you put your back bearing into the hub and then put the hub on over the seal. Now, on that one crumbler I got, in fact, and yes, we got some jets going over tops. That's all the noise you hear right now. But that one crumbler that I got, that I showed, here a couple weeks ago, putting all new bearings into the baskets. That one, I got to repack the wheel bearings also. And it has the type of hub where you press the seal. You put the back, you pack the back bearing, you put it into the hub, then you take and press the seal into the back of the hub. Then all that goes onto the spindle. These here, since the seal is onto the spindle separately from the hub, the rubber on the seal is actually in good shape, and so I'm actually not changing those. Put that right there for now. And I've actually done that lots of times. As long as the rubber seal's good, I don't change them. I clean everything all up, clean the seal like that. Clean the back of the hub out where the seal runs, and you're good to go. And we'll just set that right there. And right there's the back bearing. And like I say, I'll clean all that off, any dirt, check the rubber. But it's still got at least, looks like all 3 rings. Most seals are a triple ring. It'll have 3 small bands around of the rubber band part. We'll set that in there for right now. Keep it clean. And that's why I just clean them up, put them back on, clean the back of the hub all out, and you're good to go. But as you can see, we got grease. However, just feeling that, I can tell that is grease gun grease, not wheel bearing grease. And like I say, regular grease gun grease isn't as heavy as wheel bearing grease is. Okay guys, just wanted to show you here right quick my handy dandy bearing packer. Take your bearing and drop it with the cone side down, or the small diameter part of the bearing facing down. And that plastic piece here is tapered down. You put that handle piece on top, and then you push down that, and it lets you take, and it just forces the new grease right through the bearing, pushes out the old, and it works good. I've already cleaned up the back of the hub here, this part right here where the grease seal runs, and I have also already cleaned up the seal itself, the little rubber pieces on the spindle. And so that part over there is all cleaned up as well. But just wanted to show you here right quick. Now, one thing you can do, you can sit here and push down on that, which I've done that before, or you can cheat a little bit, and it makes it a whole lot easier. Simply put it into the vise. Now, when you do this, you want to make sure that you go nice and easy. You don't want to go crank the thing down, you'll break the bottom of this thing. It's only plastic. And when you push on it, you want to make sure you're pushing against these ribs here. The ribs go up and down. You want to make sure, like this, you want to make sure you're coming into it like this. That was actually pushing into that rib on the bottom, the strong point. But hopefully you can see halfway decent, but we just take and begin to slowly crank it. And I can see it. I don't know if you can, but the old grease is beginning to push out. Okay, yeah, you might be able to see it a little bit. But shoving the old grease out. As it brings the new grease in. And I just bring it down there to where I can see the new grease begin to come out of the bearing, and I know I'm good, to go. I'm going to take and back that off, take a look down in there. Come on, let's get out of there. There we go. Kind of makes a mess, but does a pretty good job. You can see right there we got new grease coming out. Even over here I can see the new grease down at the very bottom begin to push through. And so yeah, that's got it. So I'll do the same thing with the front bearing. I'm going to take and clean all that out of there and get rid of it. But I'll do the same thing on the front bearing. And I'll be right back with you. Okay, I got the front bearing repacked, and I just let it sit there in the packer. We'll put that down there for right now. There's the hub. There's the back bearing, all stuck down in there. Once you start putting everything together, you kind of got to work one-handed. We'll go ahead and get that thing jerked out of there. Before I put the bearing inside, I like to take and put a little grease around the outside of it. I'm going to sit that right there on top of that little lid for right now, just to get down my way. But yeah, those packers are sure handy. In fact, actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take and put grease on it right now, then set it right there. That way it's easy, it's quick to grab and throw into the hub. Because once you put the hub on there, without this front bearing in it, once it kind of tip down onto the spindle, and it can rock the back bearing kind of out of place, and I mean it'll go right back into the race, but if you can keep it held straight, and then that way as soon as you put the hub on, it's ready for you're ready to take it through the front bearing in as well, and it keeps everything all in place without rocking back and forth. And just take and set that thing right there. It's a good thing I take the garden hose and wash these disc blades all down, that way they're clean. Alrighty, I think we're ready to take and put the hub on. The front bearing has some grease on the outside of it. And we just tip him up, Goes right onto the spindle like that, right over the seals. Now we're ready for the front bearing. Just like that. Okay, and we got that flat washer that goes up against the bearing, and then that little castle nut. Get that pan underneath there in case I drop that thing. With having grease over, it's kind of hard to hang on to. Okay, and that's got it. Okay, I was going to say, I thought I laid a crescent wrench up there. I know on the outside one over there, once I tighten it down, I couldn't really, trying to find that spindle hole. If I went to one hole, it was way too tight. However, I think that right there just might work. That kind of snug it on the preload. I just don't want it too tight though. Okay, that's got it. I forgot to take and bend that key back out. But anyway, I think that should have it. See if I can try to kind of bend that thing. Like I say, this one here, I was able to snug. I mean, it's not too bad. That one over there, when I went to pull it to the next hole, it really got tight. And I actually had to back it off. Well, one notch back on that castle nut. And so you just kind of got to play with it to find out which notch works best. So anyway, well, I think I'm going to call that an end of this video. I basically got to do that to this disc. And I'm not going to video every tire. But once I get done with this, I am going to be working on the hydraulic cylinders. I want to take and put new O-rings and that kind of stuff inside of them, because a couple, I think it's that one, and the one up there on that wing, they appear to be actually internally bleeding by with oil, because you'll raise them up, then you'll see them, they'll sag back down. And so I want to get those all 4 cylinders rebuilt. So I'm going to call it an end to this video. So take care. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.